Welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most incredible, yet totally hidden, stories in modern engineering. We're looking at the secret history of fly-by-wire and its crazy journey from the moon all the way to your next commercial flight. We're going to trace exactly how a brilliant piece of 1960s space technology fundamentally altered the way we soar through the skies today. So think about this for a second, because this is the central mystery we're exploring today. How did a computer built specifically to land on the moon completely change how we fly here on Earth? I mean, we're talking about an innovation strictly engineered to survive the vacuum of space, heavy radiation, and that incredibly tense lunar descent. Yet somehow it ended up radically transforming both modern commercial and military aviation. Let's find out exactly how that massive leap happened. Section 1. Beyond cables and pulleys. To really appreciate this modern technology, we have to wind the clock back a bit. Back in the early 1900s, airplanes relied on direct mechanical cables. A pilot would literally move a stick in the cockpit, which pulled a rigid wire, which physically pulled a flap on the wing. Simple, right? But as planes got larger and way faster, the aerodynamic wind forces became absolutely immense. Pilots simply weren't strong enough to push against that wind. That bottleneck led to the 1940s and the introduction of hydraulics to basically assist human muscle. Then, the 1950s brought analog computers to help stabilize those heavy systems. But the real game changer, the ultimate leap, arrived in the 1970s with digital fly-by-wire. Now, the differences between these old control methods were literally night and day. With a direct mechanical link, you had these heavy, rigid cables that left the pilot physically strained and exhausted. I mean, it basically required a full-on gym workout just to bank the plane. Hydraulic systems fix that by using fluid pumps to assist the actuators, which totally removed that direct physical strain. But here's the catch. Hydraulics were still incredibly complex, bulky, and really heavy. To push aircraft design into the future, we needed to cut those physical ties completely. Section 2. The Moon Landing Computer. Because, well, to solve this atmospheric aviation problem, NASA engineers had to look to the space race. Specifically, they looked at the Apollo Guidance Computer, or AGC. Designed by MIT, this was a revolutionary piece of tech. It was the very first computer based on silicon-integrated circuits, making it unbelievably compact. But its real magic was under the hood with its software. It featured an asynchronous, priority-based scheduler. Simply put, if the computer got overwhelmed with data, it was actually smart enough to drop the less important tasks and only focus on what mattered most. During the Apollo 11 lunar descent, a glitch flooded the computer with totally bogus data. A standard computer would have just frozen up. But the AGC? It dropped the low-priority tasks, focused on the descent engine, and literally saved the Apollo 11 mission from disaster. So when NASA engineers later proposed putting this exact same space computer in charge of a high-speed airplane with absolutely no mechanical backups, people were understandably pretty skeptical. No way, right? But Neil Armstrong personally advocated for the project. When he was asked about the reliability of handing over an aircraft to a computer, he delivered this iconic quote: "I just went to the moon with one. It had proved its ultimate reliability when it counted the most." Section 3. How fly-by-wire works. Okay, let's dive into the core mechanism of how this digital system actually controls an aircraft in flight. Step 1, the pilot moves the control stick, but crucially, it's no longer connected to a physical cable. Step 2, transducers instantly convert that physical movement directly into electrical voltages. Step 3, the digital computer takes those voltages and mathematically calculates the exact aerodynamic adjustments needed in real time. And finally, Step 4, digital to analog converters send electrical signals to hydraulic actuators that actually move the wing surfaces. The entire physical link between the pilot and the wing is totally severed. It's replaced by pure data. This shift right here is exactly how modern planes achieve such incredible stability. They're being flown by data and math, not just muscle and cables. Section 4. Testing the F-8 Crusader. But to prove this theory could actually work in the real world, a team at NASA's Dryden Research Center had to put it to the ultimate test. And the physical transformation of their test aircraft was visceral. The team actually acquired obsolete F-8 Crusader Navy jets straight out of the aircraft boneyard. They completely ripped out all the mechanical cables and hydraulic cockpit linkages. There's absolutely zero mechanical backup left in this thing. Then they stripped out the plane's 4 primary guns and heavy ammunition boxes, and get this, they installed the Apollo Guidance Computer directly into that empty gun bay. They literally traded bullets for computer brains. Then they added the Apollo DSKI interface so the ground crew could actually program the thing. So, what was the result of all that radical engineering surgery? 42. That is the exact number of test flights the Apollo guidance computer-controlled F-8 actually flew. And across all 42 of those aggressive flights, the digital fly-by-wire system operated flawlessly without a single computer failure. Not one. It turns out the Moon computer was an exceptional pilot. Section 5. The redundancy safety net. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. The biggest concern anyone has when they hear a computer is flying their plane is simply, what happens if the computer crashes? To solve that, engineers developed something called fault tolerance, specifically through a voter system. It's an ingenious setup using multiple independent computers that continuously compare their outputs. If one computer sends out an erroneous signal, maybe due to a hardware glitch or a software bug, a majority vote from the other computers simply discards that error. True redundancy isn't just about having an extra hard drive in the trunk. It's an active, real-time mechanism constantly filtering out bad data, so the plane never reacts to a glitch. Let's break down how this builds into an actual safety architecture. In a one-fail-operate system, you have 3 computers voting. If one fails, the remaining 2 can still agree, maintain control, and safely ignore the broken one. But if a second computer fails, you hit total failure because you can no longer form a majority vote. This triply redundant voting architecture became the absolute gold standard during Phase 2 of the F-8 project, where they actually upgraded to 3 IBM AP101 computers, proving once and for all that digital flight was undeniably robust. Section 6. The modern aviation legacy. Okay, so why does a 1970s experiment with a space computer actually matter to you right now? Well, take a look at the massive drop in the commercial aircraft fatal accident rate. With Generation 3 aircraft, which were your traditional non-fly-by-wire planes, the accident rate was significantly higher. But once the industry moved to Generation 4 aircraft equipped with fly-by-wire, the fatal accident rate drastically plummeted to just 1/3 of the previous generation. Handing raw control over to a digital mediator literally made flying exponentially safer for everyone. And the sweeping legacy of this technology goes even further. The research from that F-8 project went on directly to guide the space shuttle. Also, because a computer can make micro-adjustments way faster than a human ever could, it allowed engineers to design the highly maneuverable F-16 fighter jet with intentionally reduced in-flight stability. For you and me, the technology finally entered commercial aviation in 1988 with the Airbus A320. By stripping out all those heavy hydraulics and physical cables, it significantly reduced aircraft weight and vastly improved fuel efficiency. Plus, as an awesome bonus, these systems provide way smoother rides for us by automatically damping out turbulence before we even feel it. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Next time you experience a perfectly smooth landing on a commercial flight, ask yourself, are you thanking the pilot up front, or are you secretly thanking the ghost of the Apollo 11 space program? It's truly profound to realize that a computer originally engineered to navigate the vast vacuum of space is still quietly working behind the scenes, keeping you safe in the sky today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and keep looking up.